afternoon, and we are very sorry for the late start. The 2025 electoral year is at the corner, and there have been much talks on a political alliance for change in Cameroon. During the CRM convention in Yaoundé, Maurice Kamto declared that he is accepting to shoulder the responsibility as a flag bearer of the movement. And this week, Jean-Michel Ninche was made the national coordinator of the alliance movement. How efficient can this alliance be? Will it be sustainable enough to create the change they seek in 2025? These and more are the questions we shall be addressing in today's edition of 360 Degrees. Stay with us. You're welcome back, and we are beaming live from the economic capital, Douala. We go straight to welcome some gentlemen that are here with me in the studio. I start with Fabrice Lena. Fabrice Lena is the National Secretary General of the People's Action Party, PAP. It's your first time on 360 Degrees. You're welcome.
Yeah, good day, Mr. Chair, and good day to my co-panelist, Dr. Ako, and to all the militants of the Popular Action Party, and good day to fellow Cameroonians. Good day to everyone who is a fan of Canada and your program. Thank you for having me as your guest for this program.
Quickly tell us, were you able to sleep well last night with the massive defeat of the Lions?
Well, I took a lot of precautions. I took a lot of precautions because, of course, with the first match, the performance was really not assuring. So I was sure that this match will not be very good on our side. I slept very comfortable, thinking about other state issues that it is the foundation that of issues affecting other sectors, including football. Because if football is bad, it's simply because everything is from politics, stemming from politics. That's why we're tackling the political issues.
Dr. Ako, John Ako, you're a political analyst and a civil society activist. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, pleasure to share. And again, I want to thank Mr. Lena. You know, the young man lives very far. Being in Douala in an afternoon like this shows that he has a dedication to serve Cameroonians. Exactly. Yeah, because sometimes it becomes difficult with the nature of roads. We have been crying for Autoroute Douala Yaoundé. It's 10 years gone. We are still to have even 100-kilometer start. And so the problems of Cameroonians are enormous. So we believe it too. In the party he leads, he has been doing enormously these days with the party. He's the SJ of that particular party. I admire his courage and devotion. Very few young Cameroonians will tell you that politics can heal anything. Yeah. And so some of us are those people who believe that there's interest in educating the youth's awareness in politics. And so when I see people like them, I'm a bit encouraged that there is hope in the horizon.
Just to indicate that he's one of the youngest secretary generals or one of the top officials of the political party.
Yes, that is what I...
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We shall take some of the news-making events of the week, and when we shall come back, we shall dive into our topic of today.
Martinez Zogo's demise has left a vacuum that cannot be filled. The wife flashes back to the routine, which 1 year ago was her daily lifestyle in the morning. The preparation from breakfast, the children, the car, and departure time as a convoy. She missed them greatly.
On allait en cortège à la radio. Ça me manque énormément.
A lot has changed with his absence. The joy of life, the head of the family, will ensure everyone is at home. The father is no more. Coping with all this very challenging, at times a child will read the picture of the father, asks when he's coming back.
Et se met à pleurer.
Additional strength this far has been from family, friends and journalists, and also from above.
Moi, j'ai pas eu de soutien de l'État jusqu'à présent.
The journey these past 12 months, an uphill task for her and her children.
On attend toujours et nous faisons confiance à la justice.
The wait is long, no doubt, but with investigation on cause, the wife of Martinez Zogo remained confident of justice to be rendered at the end of the 18 months. Their tears will always flow, especially as he never said goodbye due to the circumstances of his kidnap January 17 and the discovery of his lifeless body 5 days later.
Et qu'ensemble, on puisse faire les obsèques.
The favor she's asking her husband, Martinez Zogo, is for him to pray for them, to instill order, peace in their hearts and in the family, especially with all that is said around his death, so that he should be buried in peace.
Thanks. That was a report on Martinez Zogo, who is yet to be buried 1 year after he was brutally assassinated in the nation's political capital. I turn to my right again to welcome another guest, Dr. Nick Ngwanyam.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, he is a progressive CPDM. Maybe before you let me just get that. Somebody was asking me, what is progressive CPDM? Maybe you just clear the air.
Oh, progressive CPDM is a concept that many people don't really understand, because in our thinking, we think in boxes. Just like anything else. I was trying to describe it to someone the other day, and I was giving an example. You know, let's say you and I, we harvest some bananas.
Yeah.
4 days afterwards, they start getting ripe. That is the CPDM. If you leave the bananas to get ripe for 1 week so they're very sweet, that's the progressive CPDM. So it's the same bananas, but cooked differently.
It's nice to have you here. And then to my left again, we have Mutaga Silvanus. We shall be getting to him. We'll give him some time to catch his breath. Gentlemen, today we are talking the alliance, the political alliance for change. And I begin with you, Dr. Ako. How did you react when you got the concept of that the political alliance for change in Cameroon?
Yeah, it's not the first time we got to alliances preparing for future elections. I believe the MRC party and its allies just believe that they need to prepare more better than others. And I believe if that is honest, in the brain of honesty, I would think they are a bit more better than it has been happening in the past. Remember, in the last elections, there were alliances that were proclaimed 2 days to elections. And we tried thinking what impact it will create. But somewhere too, we try to ask again, who are the members of such an alliance? If at all, it is made to create the change that we want. That few people maybe come together, met in their room, then create an alliance, and if not, share the positions already. Is that really to serve the interests of the people? What we are saying in a true alliance, there is a need to consider everybody equal. There is a need to contain everybody. There is a need to bring in the the majority of the oppositions we are thinking. And why not? Even trying to see if those of the ruling party, the CPDM, can equally belong to such an alliance. Yes, because somewhere the CPDM is found in opposition. And so we need to find CPDM militants to join opposition party when alliances are honest. But when they come out prematurely, because I call it prematurely, in delegating another person as a coordinator and another person assuming to lead such an alliance, you are simply telling us that those that will come later might not have any bread on the table, and that what was available has been shared already. Okay. That is the type of alliance which Cameroonians might not believe in. Okay,
let's welcome Mutaga Silvanus Tifu, who is a CPDM, a CRM militant and a special advisor to Professor Maurice Kamto. It's nice to have you here.
Honestly speaking, I'm glad to be here today, especially sharing the panel with the most finest brains of the Anglophone expressions like Dr. Ako, John, Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, and Fabrice Lena. Permit me use this platform to greet militants of the Cameroon Renaissance movement who are scorched all over the globe watching this program, and also members of the alliance, the political alliance for change in Cameroon, who certainly will be watching this program this afternoon, because I'm quite sure we are going to be focusing on the coalition for change in 2025.
Yes, and that is why I stay with you to begin by giving us briefly what is the content of this alliance? You are of the CRM, and the CRM seems to be championing this alliance.
I'm of the CRM political party. Honestly speaking, the CRM is just one of the privileged parties to have had its candidate been solicited to lead this coalition. And I think that there is a spokesperson for the Political Alliance for Change who can very profoundly give you the content of it. But at this particular moment, we are looking at the possibility of political parties to rally for change in 2025.
Not only political parties, civil society activists, like what I saw as the content, civil society activists, there is a educated, something intellectual Cameroonians.
The intelligentsia, the information, people of the caliber of Professor Ako John, Dr. Dick Ngwanyam, and the university norms, which we know. We cannot forget their contribution to shaping the political history of our nation.
Okay, Fabrice Lena, we've heard of the CDU, we've heard of the CRM, we've heard of the United Socialist Party and other parties, but we haven't heard of PAP officially declaring that they are part of the alliance.
Yeah, of course, the Popular Action Party had always been in favor of alliances. Of course, before the crisis, in our bastion of support in Northwest and Southwest that affected our bastion of support since 2017, PAP was a champion of the Parc Républicain of 2015-16. If you can remember, in those days when Justice Aya was still at the helm of the party, they were struggling to see how to come up with a unique candidate for the 2018 elections, just before the crisis came and put everything at Waterloo. PAP had also been part of the Front Citoyen, Citizenship Front, that was still for a unique candidate for 2018 presidential elections that was held at the AFP, Alliance des Forces Progressives headquarters in Yaoundé, Tinga. I remember being a participant of this conversation as part of the PAP team. And of course, with the 2020 alliances for protests against end to war to the English-speaking regions, and so many other attempts to come up with alliance either for election or for a specific objective in the country. And to mention here that the PAP is, of course, with in alliance with another political party who found in the extreme north region of the country, that is the Patriotic Movement for the Salvation of Cameroon, abbreviated in French as MPSC. And if up till now we have not yet made an official declaration to be part of the Political Alliance for Change, it's because we are still in the informal stage of background conversations. Because to inform you, Mr. Chair, and the public opinion, when they talk of Alliance for Change, there is a process, a due diligent process to be followed.
Of course.
There is consultation to be followed, and this all takes time, and it also takes the party's internal decision to come up with such a decision. And the idea of the Political Alliance for Change came so suddenly. Yeah, and there is also the strategic steps as to how to go about this. Because when you look at the alliance and coalition history of Cameroon, what is the cause of the failure of most of these alliances and coalitions? We must deal with the failures of previous alliances and coalitions in order not to continuously making alliances that is not yielding the tangible fruit. This is where the PAP is very careful to engage into alliances without due diligent process. However, we are in full support of any alliance that is for change. That's why I'm saying that we're still in the informal stage of consultative discussion. Till then, when things must have been matured enough for us to clarify public opinion that we are part of it, then you will hear from the PAP.
Thank you, and just to indicate that you can also contribute to our talking points through the number you have on your screen you only send a WhatsApp text or SMS. Please make your messages short and concise. Do not call. I insist, do not call, please. I turn to Dr. Nick. How efficient do you think this alliance can be?
Oh, thank you very much. You are asking me a tricky question, and I would have loved to have time to build a background so that the answer to that question would make sense.
Briefly.
Yes. To say that we have, and Lena knows, we have 367 political parties in the country.
Yes.
And of course, you know very well that all those things are fake, don't you? Right. Now, and there are just a few of them that are actually on the ground working. So there's a lot of fake stuff going on.
So we have active political parties and
I have a lot of fake stuff.
Yeah.
Now, that said, I have kept on saying that, you know, the way Cameroonians think and the way the political parties have been working, they all have a certain mindset that comes from an old Cameroon and an educational system that exists in Cameroon. And if you've heard me talking about the progressive CPDM very much, it's because I broke away from that mindset to try to get Cameroonians to understand something different. Because what the common man wants is actually his problem solved. Whether they are solved by A, B, C, or D, they don't care. Whether somebody is there for 100 years is not a problem. Like if you go to Dubai, the king is there, the king has been there for 100 years, but the people there, they have everything that they need. Just like this guy who was killed in Libya. You see?
Gaddafi.
So what people want and what people are interested in is that you solve their problems and you get them to live and survive. So what we are saying is that whether it's the opposition or the CPDM that will take over, that is what people want, and we should keep our eyes focused on that. And if you do listen to, there was a voice clip that was sent out from one Christian radio in Limbe, and it was Eric Chinje who was commenting on the end of year speeches of all these political heads, and then he said none of them was up to standard. And that's exactly what he was talking about. Everybody, you know, including your boss, I don't want to call his name, everybody was into emotions, dealing with emotions, and not really tackling the issues on the ground. It is about tackling the issues, and we have dealt a lot with emotions. That said, that's where the progressive CPDM comes in. The progressive CPDM comes in and says, we are going to solve the problem. We are not even, you see, I don't even praise the CPDM.
Is there a possibility of the progressive CPDM solving the problem when the person at the head maybe will not share
no, if
your vision?
It's because you don't know who President Paul Biya is.
I know.
President Paul Biya,
president as well.
Yeah, he's progressive in mindset, but let down by people around him. President Paul Biya never told his ministers not to carry debt off the streets.
Of course.
Are you getting what I'm saying? So they are really failing him big time and making him very angry and embarrassed. So when we say progressive, it means carry the streets, the debt off the streets. It means provide water. It means provide light. It means solve the problems of the people. That's all it
means execute the recommendation of the head of state.
No, it also means do things that will make everybody happy, including the head of state. That said, let's go back now to your coalition.
Yes, briefly.
To say that, you know, our educational system in Cameroon have trained people to be competitive from nursery school. That competition is very bad. You see, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at Mutsaga, he's only looking at how he's going to nail me. You see what I'm saying? It's competition instead of collaboration. And to think that all these opposition people are going to collaborate is the biggest lie on earth.
Okay, thank you so much. I get back to you. He made mention of the fact that it is like taking the second step before the first when you start a coalition by pre-selecting the leaders of such a coalition.
Honestly speaking, I think everyone here has a right to his opinions. And it's often said all sense is opinion, but not all opinion is sense. And if we want to look at the coalition, I heard some of my co-panelists here said there ought to have been background discussions and all the like. And I would want to say here that there wasn't any magic stick that was waved that day before. You see the number of political leaders that were present at the Third Ordinary Convention of the CRM give their motion of support for that political alliance is simply because there have been background discussions, and to think that you will bring everyone on deck is a lie from the pit of hell. A while ago, Dr. Nick was just talking of about 360 political parties in this nation. Some of them are just there just to animate the gallery, which I concord. So to think that such political parties who are out to animate a gallery, and some of them who look at politics as a source of avarice, they are canvassing to see how they can maybe associate with the ruling CPDM to have their own little share of the money, and then fit their nuclear families would have to come for anything that would be the nature to effect a change in this country is a life from the pit of hell. But like I told you, the CRM candidate happened to be just one of those fortunate candidates, certainly simply because a good number of the politicians and even the civil society, university dons, and the clergymen, you can name them, must have done a lot of homework, and they think that it's high time they did something to move the country forward. So they have to work with the CRM, and we are only but grateful, and Professor Maurice Kamto will not be so happy because he's not going to be working for his interest, but for the interest of the nation. So to think that he should be beating his chest that, oh, I'm the best person would be quite disastrous, because like he said, some people think President Biya has failed because his entourage is a very bad entourage, which is quite demagogic. The CRM candidate, if he has to lead the coalition for 2025 for change, is certainly going to be working with all other Cameroonians from all walks of life. And that's the Cameroon we want, the new Cameroon, which we think that we shouldn't sideline some people because these people are super intelligent, or like they are, you know, some people think that, excuse me just a minute, some people think that President Paul Biya has always decided to choose those who are mediocre to work with him, so that they should be those who all accept yes, 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 and allow him to go ahead. So we think that the candidate of CRM who will be leading the coalition in 2025 will be looking for the best brains of this nation, the most determined political parties of the opposition, and even some of those who have the ruling CPDM, like Dr. Ako said. We are already working on such a strategy. 2 weeks ago, I think I was, that's a month ago, I was in Bamenda. I wouldn't tell you the number of top-ranking personalities I had to meet in Bamenda. I was in the West region. I think I was also in other regions, which if you have to go to find out, you know that the CRM is not sleeping. The CRM is working hand in glove with the Political Alliance for Change, and this is not just because we think that the CRM is the most highly qualified political party. We are just only grateful that Cameroonians at this particular juncture have decided to give their blessings for the CRM to lead and its candidate.
Okay, thank you. I want us to look at two key persons, Maurice Kamto and Jean-Michel Ninche, who fell off with the SDF and created the Front for Change.
No, Professor Maurice Kamto did not fall off from this.
No, I'm talking about Jean-Michel Ninche.
Okay, you should do that precision.
Yes, and created the Front for Change, Cameroon. Now he is, in quote, the coordinator of such a movement. Can that yield fruit?
When it is a bit difficult, remember that creating a party on the eve of a coalition, which the party itself does not, I don't imagine, I can't imagine that the Prophet Nietzsche's camp even have a bureau, because we don't know who is the secretary general of his party. We don't know those who are militants of that same party. And then he's going for a coalition. Is he, as a personality, having a coalition, or he is in the name of a party, whether the party has even endorsed him to be so. So you find a type of coalition you may be calling a coalition, which is instead an association of persons, not a coalition. When we talk of a coalition means that each of those representatives have a backing, and each of the representatives have a political group you are representing.
Of course.
But when you come as an, we know how that party was created and why it was created. Are they having a representation? I mean, in the national spirit, if elections are to be organized today,
will they be ready?
Will they be ready in even 2 regions? So that if you think it at the sense of the coalition, yes, if it was a member of the civil society, yes, I believe even some of us, we attract audience even more than some political parties. And so if I called presently that Dr. Ako has a coalition with Professor Maurice Kamto, I believe there are Cameroonians far from here that will be saying that this young man has a reason why he's there. So what I'm saying is, should we call it a coalition or an agreement between gentlemen? Because to my opinion, it has just been a compromise between Nietzsche and the leader of the MRC party that you coordinate. Because if I am the one, people will be thinking that I want to collect everything. But that is a collection they have already done. Remember, that's my first outing. You can't come to a coalition, you sit, and then you share what is available, and you think that others will just come and rally, then sit behind.
When he says what he says, he gives the impression that personal interest is surpassing the real issue.
Yeah, it's important at this point in time that Cameroonians should understand that leadership is very complex in our country. If the party in power and its songbirds are able to stay this long and are able to keep Cameroonians at the stalemate that they are today, it's because our side, the opposition side, have been committing a lot of blunders. This should be acknowledged. I am of this side, and I stand to say that let things be done rightly. The process of forming an alliance, the process of establishing a coalition is more important than the alliance or the coalition itself. Very important. Because when we talk of an alliance for change, what is an alliance? This is the regrouping of people for a common goal or a common interest on a particular subject or a particular thing. Here we are talking about elections. Be it, we don't still know, Mr. Journalist, whether it is presidential or municipal or legislative or regional elections.
I was coming to that.
Based on the electoral calendar, we have 4 elections in 2025. Coalition for what elections? How are the actors of each political entity or opinion holder or civil society organization chosen? Who is that middle person that is able to galvanize all the other political entities together? It is important that Cameroonians know. Once Fabrice Lena, as the Secretary General of Popular Action Party, started an initiative to bring other political parties together, there is mutual distrust, fear, and suspicion. Why? Politics, partisan politics by its nature, is divisive. Now, for people to rally behind me, I have to implore the best of strategies that will show impartiality and neutrality of how I want to bring these people together, open to people, either by a process that you put it to Cameroonians and they see that this process is transparent enough, bringing all people together, without which the best option will be that of a clergy, a religious person, a civil society, an intellectual, academia, or any other sectoral person or a professional or a technocrat. That's to say that Cameroonians are yearning to see a leader that will be able to rally the people from the north to the south to west. And such a leader should not be auto-determined. It should be a due process of how
with principles of how to choose.
Come to sit together and say, hey, we think that PAP, USDP, CPP, CRP, CRM, PCRN, and so on and so forth have come, and then we place all the possible candidates of these different political entities on a forum with equal representation. I think if a political party, even if we are saying there are 360, if a political party says it's a political party, the legalization document of that political party at the Ministry of Territorial Administration have at least not less than 15 members in the document that are managing it. So even if people were to go in and sit and discuss, and each political party come with its registration member of 15 people, then we will say that out of that 15 people, they will have their own leader. Because remember, even if we have 300 and something political party, each political party have an ideology and an agenda. In as much as we are seeking for an alliance, we must seek for the best way of doing that alliance in order to incorporate all political programs into a common agenda that will make us put the opponent and the main target aside, which is the Biya regime. That is the problem of Cameroonians.
Thank you, Fabrice. Dr. Nick, when you look at the rumbling in the process, and then when you look at the fact that some major opposition political parties are still dragging their feet.
Yes.
As far as this alliance is concerned. Does that give you the impression that the opposition is mainly animating the gallery?
Yes, actually, and Lena will tell you that I've been telling everyone who cares to listen that at the end of the day, there will be only 4 political parties that will be standing on their feet. And recently I added him as the 5th because, in fact, we must...
When you say 4 political parties...
I'm going to explain. In fact, I must say it again that I admire your courage. I think I did say it, and he's very intelligent. And if people know actually about PAP a lot, it's because of the work that he does. There's no question about that. He works hard and he's good. He's a good guy. Now, that said, at the end of the day, you will have the progressive CPM, all right? Then you will have Mutaga with his bleeding MRC. And you have the limping SDF coming along. Then there's a basket of crabs, all those other ones. And then Lena will be number 5. But the bottom line is this.
Why are you so certain about this?
But that's how it's going to happen, because you know what? You know what animates all these people? You see, if you listen to Mutaga very well, and even all of them, the 3 of them, especially Lena, the thing that characterizes all of them is greed. Number 1, greed. Number 2, ego. The egos, they have excessive egos and they don't listen to each other. And number 3, they are very selfish. So nobody believes in the other. Just to prove to you how selfish they are. Listen, do you know why we have 367 political parties? They are not 367 different ideas. It's just that everybody wants to be a boss. That's all. And a lot of people are using politics as a job. They see politics as a job to feed their families. They are not caring about the common good. That's the problem. But if, let's say, they were actually looking at things from the sense of the common good, Mutaga, PAP, and SDF will be in one block. They will not be all in Nangangana. So it's very easy for me to just go in there and scatter them, whatever they're trying to do. It will not work.
And then, saying what he says, there is equally this tendency of, in Cameroon, opposition fighting opposition. That should normally play down on the alliance.
Mr. Journalist, I think I would not be devilled to dabble into such mental quackery.
But we have seen in this country where opposition party leaders, even on TVs and radio, they openly declare their hatred or the challenge for the other political leaders.
Like I said a while ago, I wouldn't be devilled to dabble into such a mental quackery of saying that the opposition is fighting one another. They might have divergent views on how things ought to be done, but they still have the opportunity, and if they are determined, they can sit at the table of discussion and come with a common front on how to unseat the ruling CPDM. The CRM candidate, like I told you a while ago, is not such an egocentric personality, because if I look at the strides he has been able to pull since 2018, they are quite laudable, because he has gone crisscrossed the whole nation, especially canvassing for popular support for change in this nation. So those politicians who were at the third ordinary convention of the CRM, like I still continue to tell you, they would not just be summarized to Jean-Michel Nietzsche, like I think some of us want to be very biased and
we had Prince Ekoso who was there, we had
Sam Sirimbaka, we have
had the president of PAP that was there, but he was invited.
Even during the SDF convention.
Mr. Lena, when you were talking here, I religiously listened to you express yourself. Like I said,
adding to what you're saying,
they were present there. And Patricia Ndamnjoya of the UDC, who is a parliamentarian, and the UDC is not just a common political party, they were all present. Like I told you, there had been some background works, especially with regard to the consensual reform of the electoral system. That's where we expected that political parties which are very serious for change in this nation would have joined that platform that has been existing since 2020. But I will tell you at this particular juncture that many of them are shying away.
And so maybe before you continue, just to indicate that there are people who have talked of the alliance and they are very lukewarm joining the coalition for electoral reforms.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So I said the coalition for electoral reform has been existing since 2020, and the headquarters is at the UDC political party in Yaoundé. You can imagine it is not at the CRM political party, because I have the impression that some people think that the CRM wants to usurp everything. If you did not join that coalition for the reform of the electoral system on the grounds that it was being usurped by some person, then you find that they are political parties who are not really working for the good of the Cameroonians. So, like I said, we are of the logics that much has to be done. And I will concord with some of my co-panelists that it's a process, because I also said that if the process that leads to your ascending to power is excellent, then you are occupying an excellent position. So we, at this particular juncture, have not closed the door for other civil society actors, for other university dons and other political parties who want to join the coalition. As I told you, you asked me, it looks like you wanted to trick me here at the start of this program by asking me to unveil the content of their coalition. I told you it's a whole process, and there is a spokesperson for the political Alliance for Change. At the appointed time, he will unveil the content of that coalition to the general public. And somebody said, the coalition for change, is it about municipal and parliamentary elections? Is it for this? But I want to tell you that it is written crystal clear, and we've been sounding on it very emphatically, that the coalition for change is concerning the presidential elections in 2025. So I don't think we would be went into the matter to say we don't know the shape of that coalition at this particular juncture.
Yes. So you permit me to take a few reactions. We have over hundreds of them, but I'll just read out like one or two. Hi, greetings to everyone watching, and greetings to Cameroonians. A special afternoon to the panelists, and most especially Dr. Nick. I'm enjoying the program, watching all the way from Noni. Noni is in the northwest region, Bui Division, if I'm not making a mistake. And then we have this one. I think this issue of coalition can only be successful if power is given equally within the parties concerned. That is coming from, I didn't get the name, this one too. Greetings and congratulations for the work done. Firstly, I appreciate you for the debate. Secondly, the political alliance is a failed attempt. There have been due constitutions with political parties, civil societies, university dons and clergy. Besides, the cabal, which in some prominent parties were called on board, was disgraceful. I can't really understand that. You don't invite people for a convention. Use it to announce and create a coalition. There is no logic in the CRM guys' promise. Okay, Fabrice, you wanted to react to that?
Yeah, of course. I wanted to agree with the last person who made the SMS to say you don't invite people for convention and use it to announce coalition. For me, I still personally think that logic doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. You know, to be a leader, a politician, means that you are setting the pace for people to follow. And of course, the invitation that the PAP received from the CRM, of course, I am in the National Council of the PAP as the Secretary General. We all read it with the National President, was invitation for CRM convention, not invitation for an political alliance for change. So these are two different concepts, you know. So the invitation was honored by the National President of the PAP for CRM convention. So the discussion here should be solidarity action for CRM convention, which of course PAP has been doing since 2018, because even when our party, because of the crisis, was unable to participate in 2018 elections, we all announced it publicly through a communique that our supporters in the other regions of the country should vote for the CRM political candidate. So this solidarity had been existing in 2018, 2020. I was the one who led the protest in Yaoundé in solidarity with CRM actions for call for protest. That means we have been in that line of thought. But it becomes illogical when the news or the communication out there is that political party leaders who came for convention supported political alliance for change. Here there is a question mark, because the nuance here is, was it solidarity for convention of a political party with whom we share the vision of changing the country by deposing the incumbent dictator, or for an alliance? So this is where I say that the political alliance for change should organize an independent meeting, and this due consultation that my brother Mr. Sivano is saying, which of course it's a nice process, should come in now, and then for us to sit on the round table, discuss the terms and conditions for such a political alliance. This one can be started by anybody. Anybody can start a political alliance process. And then, of course, from there, we will come out with the outcome of what we mutually agree and implement them in a transparent manner in front of Cameroonians and our militants.
Dr. Ako, if the alliance works, there is a fundamental problem in Cameroon, which is the lukewarm attitude of youths getting involved in politics, especially getting a voter's card, getting registered into the electoral list. Yes. So which role, or what role can the opposition party play to get youths involved? Because we are talking here about some political parties, which we have more party supporters than potential voters.
Yeah, it's, I want to imagine what the PCRN party did before 2018 presidential elections.
Yes.
And the leader of that party at the time, Gabriel Levy, yes, stood for 10 million, 11 million new voters. Yes.
That was under the initiative of Citoyen Cameroon.
Yeah, yes, that's what I'm saying. And now, which means that any political alliance, for it to be successful, you need to first of all identify where the youths are found, so that you conduct with the LECAM. Fabrice Lena has been doing that already. I believe he has been to some university campuses and academic centers where you can easily group youths, then get them registered. On every alliance, if there is an objective, one objective is to get youths registered. Secondly, educate them on the role they have playing in politics, and that each is not a manner of selecting who should be a leader. Give them the life that they can equally become leaders of the same coalition.
Of course.
So if Joshua in Hong Kong, 23 years, become a parliamentarian, why can't you be a parliamentarian in Cameroon? And then when we imagine Attal become a prime minister of a republic like France, meaning a youth at 25 should equally vie to become the next prime minister if his coalition should win. And so the more youths you motivate, that is politics. Politics and democracy, a game of number. If you can get some of these youths, give them the idea that it is possible to succeed without looking at their age, and that they can equally become great at any position they are. It's not because you are considered a youth. Yes, sometimes we told them that the story of the youths are the leaders of tomorrow has failed in Cameroon, because those who were the elders yesterday have refused to quit. And so we need to preach the so-called political education and political awareness to get in line presently with the youths. I believe 2025 is still having about 12 months ahead. Any coalition that does not have this aspect on their agenda, they are not going to succeed, because the CPDM, to which Dr. Nick Guanyan still belong, have a way they work with the outdated brains of the old age people. I mean, those who were in school in 1950. And so if you have a coalition that is going to succeed, take the age group of those who were born in 1981 and work with them. And I believe that change will come.
Thank you, Doc. Just to indicate to our viewers that the registration process into the electoral list is opened. It was opened since the 1st of January. The 1st of January, because the 2nd of January, because the 1st was a public holiday, and it will run till August 31st. So if you don't yet have your voter's card, please know that you will only end up talking in the quarters, and you will not be part of the decision-making group. Dr. Nick.
Yeah, just before you ask the question, just to continue to encourage the youths to go and register on those electoral registers, because, you know, I left from Bamenda and I abandoned my card there. So the other day I went to Bunamusadi and I got registered on the electoral register. And, you know, I'm told many youths are going to register because of the progressive CPDM. So I encourage you to, we're going to give you a lot of opportunities. Go and register. I promise you that. Thanks. Your questions. I have no question.
Maybe before I come back to you, let me get to Fabrice. Do you see the possibility of an independent candidate come 2025?
Yeah, there's this possibility. I think there are a couple of people, even out of the country, within the country, who are eyeing the presidency. I've discussed with a couple of opinion holders, and I have the impression that they are interested to get galvanize the 300 per region chiefs and authorities. That 30 per region, which makes a total of 300 in the national territory. If you are popular and then you have that kind of capacity to stand for presidency, to mobilize 300 people to sign for you will not be an issue. So there is a possibility for that. And to add my voice to the issue of voter registration campaign, this is a topic I hold so dear to my heart, because between 2022 to 2023, we shifted our politics from the lamentations of 2018 and the preoccupations of the Anglophone crisis to civic engagement and political participation of young people. So the topic, civic engagement and political participation, was like a basket with so many departments and activities within whom I designed at the General Secretariat of the Popular Action Party and put it forth to the youth. And in 2023, the Popular Action Party was able to register 946 for the first time youths in Fako division in Southwest region, and a couple of other young people registered in Meme, in Manu, and in Mezam. This is something to celebrate. So I'm calling on the youths that are still dragging their feet. The only political party with people less than 35 years, above 21 years, who are vying to occupy municipal and legislative positions in the national territory is in the Popular Action Party. You can find out about us, and of course, to say that Dr. Nick will not offer you anything because he is confused to put in place what he calls progressive CPDM when there is no official document anywhere saying that there is a certain CPDM and a progressive CPDM. So the ideology he's trying to preach is absurd, is not existing. So please, you should not be misled by what Dr. Nick is saying. And if there is any political party and politicians that are greedy in Cameroon, or their name is greed in CPDM, because they have hyped and take all the resources of this country for themselves. Okay. And Dr. Lee is protecting his academic institutions. So you people should know this. Even though I respect him very much as an elite in academics.
That is yet to be proven. When he acknowledges that we can have an independent candidate in 2025, it means the power to negotiate should be stepped up. Because for the 300 people to come together, there should be some sort of degree in the negotiations on the table.
Mr. Journalist, you are the one asking questions here. Do you see any impediment to Professor Maurice Kamto leading the Coalition for Change in this nation, looking at his pedigree, his prowess as a political figure? There isn't. And I think that anyone that would be fighting the Coalition for Change in this nation on the basis that it was discussed at the CRM convention is not really very objective, because it wasn't the leader of the CRM that talked of the Alliance for Change, Political Alliance for Change. Is something that was well nurtured and discussed among some political leaders, which Jean-Michel Nietzsche happened to be just the spokesperson for that coalition, and he used that opportunity simply because it was, by providence of fate, the right position for him to use. So, like I'm saying, the CRM political party is one of those political parties we will not deny, because they are practically on the ground on daily basis, 24 on 24, 7 on 7. If you come to Douala, you find that the youths are the ones at the front line of registration on the voter list. In Douala 5, just before the 2023 year rounded up, we had registered not less than 200,000 persons on the electoral list. I mean, in Douala 5. We have the archive because the CRM has within its round the National Electoral Observatory. The National Electoral Observatory of the CRM has as a prime duty to archive all Cameroonians who are duly registered on the electoral list through the channel of the CRM. So they are doing that on daily basis, they are doing that on weekly basis, and that's why you see the CRM can boldly, through its leader, tell you that there is a manipulation of the figures of number of people registered on the electoral list by Elections Cameroon, because we have the figures of our own militants whom we have registered on the list. So if we look at it and then finally go through maybe reports from other political parties whom I would have to congratulate here because they are doing their work, you find that Elecam has to do a lot to be very transparent.
Are you saying that the over 7 million Cameroonians Elecam is giving, that to you is not real?
That figure is not real, according to me. That's my opinion. Because
then you have to prove it some other time, because I cannot accept that.
No, they have to prove to us that Elecam has that responsibility to prove to us why and how the figures, instead of increasing since 2011, they are decreasing. Sometimes they rise up in 2018, and then finally you see them, they go down again. We don't seem to understand.
But this time around there is an increase.
What kind of increase? Just it is minimal compared to the work that political parties did in 2023. That's why we say Elecam has to do a lot of work. Like I said to you, the youths, they might have a lukewarm attitude towards registration on the electoral list simply because the old system formatted them to understand that politics is for the old and maybe the aging, the retired people. You remember in school, in our family cycles, they used to tell us that, no, this politics is for old people who are already on retirement. You cannot go to destroy your future. Not like so. Within the CRM, we have the Renaissance Academy. The Renaissance Academy is doing a lot of work in all the 10 regions of the nation. They are the ones moving around with the agents, and they are sensitizing the youth. Recently, they were in the northern regions in Marwa, they were in Gaundre, and they were equally in the south region, where we face a lot of opposition, especially in South Malima, during the renewals of the basic structures of the party there. They were there to sensitize the youth, and quite a good number of youths are buying the manifesto of the CRM. I want to tell you that we are reserving a lot of surprises for the people, because during the upcoming municipal and parliamentary elections, you are going to see the quota that the youth will be having within the CRM political party.
Thank you, Dr. Ako. In all this, the civil society holds the key for any meaningful change, even within the opposition political parties.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you what we have been doing and what we are planning to do. I may be saying something which is not maybe welcomed by Dr. Nick or Mr. Mutanga, but I want to tell you that in 2025, I'm forming a bloc for Anglophone as president. And I don't want
that is good. That is what I said forward.
I said there is going to be
PAP supports that fully.
A coalition, not only of Anglophones, a coalition of Cameroon civil society promoting that at least after 60 years of independence, an Anglophone as president. Yeah. And so I don't care where they come from, but what I'm sure is that there's going to be a change in the narratives that 2025 belong to an Anglophone.
It's a revelation.
Yeah, I think what he's saying makes sense, because I understand that I think hopefully, if you want to succeed, Mutaga, you better make OC your presidential candidate there, I think, otherwise you PAP. Or you can't take PAP, otherwise you're going nowhere. You can be certain about that. But that's just for the gallery, because at the end of the day...
Dr. Nick, I would like Dr. Nick, I would like to ask a question. Do you think
OC is very smart. Do you think he'll beat you anytime?
Do you think at this particular juncture the problem of Cameroon is that of an Anglophone being at the helm of the Supreme Magistracy?
Okay, so you are saying that after 60 years... No, I'm not saying
after 60 years. Do you think that's the problem of the nation at this particular juncture?
So what you are saying is that about Anglophone, nobody is qualified. Is that what you are saying?
I haven't said there isn't an Anglophone that's qualified. I've simply asked a question. Do you think that the problem of this nation at this particular juncture, where there is a war going on in the northwest and southwest region, is as a result of the fact that an Anglophone...
Us is that an Anglophone cannot be.
Okay. It's a question I simply ask you.
It's an uncalled for question.
No, it's not serious. We want to think we are putting the we are always in the know.
If you want to be serious, make us serious.
Make us season of it.
Time is against us, please.
Oh, never mind.
Yes. Okay, maybe we shall have
another one
platform to talk about
whether so what was the question again? Okay, let's lay down to rest and let me answer.
And that will be yes, and that will be your last word.
Yeah, let me hear you. What's the question?
The question was when he says what he says.
Yeah.
He gives. Do you buy the idea?
that an Anglophone should be a president.
Yes.
What's wrong with that? Did Anglophone commit any crime? Even though, see, what is going to happen anyway, in the next elections, it will be a transition government. And President Paul Biya is 80% most likely to be the president. But it's a transition government. Are you understanding what I mean? It's not a CPDM government, it's a transition government. And that transition government is going to fix the country. Forget about this thing Emas is talking about.
Your last word in 5 seconds.
Yeah, I want to appreciate all the viewers of Canada and to thank the militants of the Popular Action Party for being committed to the party, that our agenda of a new federal republic will be achieved by rallying behind this party, committing to our agenda
Thank you,
of
Fabrice.
for young people.
Thank you, Fabrice Lena, gentlemen. Unfortunately, I won't be able to take your last word. Time is against us. It is here we draw the curtains of today's program. And do not forget, if you don't have your voter's cards, go for it. If not, you will not have a decision to make when the time comes. Stay tuned until we meet again next Saturday. Bye-bye.